For plebs, by plebs, dropping the Bitcoin-only signal. Pleb Underground. Welcome everyone to the Pleb Underground.
Pleb Underground, episode 95. It's still recorded. We're still alive. Cyber hornets swarming. Fly from the hive. Who's the next target? Research deep dive. Each week, I feel the pressure to write new rhymes. Feel the pressure to right new wrongs. Feel the pressure. Ignite new files. Feel the refresher. On first sight, new desires. Nothing fresher. Each one tight on hires made to measure in the night. All clean lines, each without your halitosis. Epstein declines, and I doubt his apoptosis. I like to be making money from what I believe, not like shitcoiners take money from while they deceive. Front run TradFi, JP Morgan Chase, front run TradFi, couple Morgan Chase. Feel the heat from IRA, can't feel defeat like IRA. Defer like the elite with an RIA, fuck that, long spot, fuck your IRA. Fuck all this shit, not in self-custody, mad love for all, you self-thrusted, be real, don't deprecate, self-custody, really solve the fair way for network subsidy. Send it our way, send it to Jarway, always fusing, tell her this is the star way. She likes my beats, I like her car play. Life looks greener, at least from afar, hey. We ain't got forever, but that's a bit macabre, say. Shit going on, might have missed a week, shit going on, might have kissed a cheek. I got some haters, not everyone like me. But secretly, some wanna be like me. Hear what I'm saying, they wanna mic me. No shitcoins for sale, I only like B. She calls me daddy, it's like I adopted. The best money, it will be co-opted. You learn a little and then you copped it. She ain't Pringles, but likes how I popped it. You can't let devils in, gotta fight the devil, sin. You can't just let him in, not just talk like on Letterman. Not from the neighborhood, next to one neighbor, wood. No barbershop culture, it's barbershop culture. Freshly minting, deep in, might make Rick not the laster. 3D printing, wizards move fast, D3 hinting, not the move of a master. 3D squinting, it's not brand new or caster. She just wants to be let out. She says she got game, okay, get your head out. I'm not in a rush, I ain't got a head out. Pumping like that, it's like she took the lead out. Fuck if you feel me, you ain't got a choice. But she's like, come feel me with blue steel and my voice. Always writing dope verses, sometimes slighting cope. Curses written on screen, not in cursives. Ideas iterated and a little recursive. Barbecue time, cook the meat and carvel. My boy DC cooks, he's quite the marvel. I might be ill, but nothing ails my mind. I write these tales with this view, ain't nothing pales. Sat on these bales at the Bitcoin beach retreat, North Wales. He's silent like his swordplay, takes advantage but not untoward play. Tries to manage the advance of the horde, may take a step, strides, you look to Lord, pray. I'm not a world-famous meme like MTC. Laser eyes not to 100k, but an M. TC's 8 behind MTC. Sometimes I need a large, not an MTC. Sometimes they clap a ton and I wonder why. Tears in heaven for the sun in the sky. Politicians competing on who's the most votable. When it's all said and done, I'll be the most quotable. I got fresh rhymes for blocks, fresh rhymes for days, flesh rhymes for glocks, sesh rhymes for slays, address rhymes for frocks, reuse rhymes for bass, obtuse rhymes for knocks, confuse rhyme for days, encrypt rhymes with locks, conscript rhymes for plays, double dip rhymes for flocks of sheep, deep rhymes and maize, convey reap rhymes for rocks, and they sleep rhymes for plays. The world is better with a woman in a summer dress, so kick back, relax, enjoy a Hummer, mess up her hair, tangled like newcomer stress, embrace volatility till you're number, bless.
He back. That was absolute fucking fire, Walton. Absolutely amazing. That's right, guys. Episode 95, Pleb Underground, and joining us, return guest, fellow Bitcoiner, friend to the show, and author of The Bitcoin Dollar. That's right.
Yes,
Mark
only
Goodwin.
Bitcoin book that isn't a scam, right? I think that's the tagline.
Oh, he's coming straight out with that. Dude, he's coming straight out with that right away.
Seeing as, I mean, we're in numbers soon, but like there are actually 2 books that aren't Bitcoin scams, apparently. The other one, though, is written by Andreas Antonopoulos, and he's a scam. And so therefore, like, does it count? Like, I don't know.
You guys can already tell this is going to be a very spicy episode. So let's dive right into it. We are going to move it on over to the numbers.
Yeah, the numbers, of course, brought to us by TimeChain Stat and TimeChain Calendar. What do the numbers look like this week, Phil?
At the time of this recording, the block height is 852,907. The Bitcoin Fiat Exchange, 66,504. We almost back. All right. Let's see here. Big Macs to Bitcoin. Damn. 12,913. That's right, guys. We're getting more Big Macs again. Total public lightning capacity 5,343. Fastest fee 9 sats per VByte. Moscow time 15:03. Boom. We back?
So,
are we back?
So if Trump's raising money on Bitcoin, it's not like that. It's not happening on chain. Is basically I think the point maybe.
Maybe. I heard something about it. I heard something about an NFT project though. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, I heard
like,
it. The fourth one is coming.
In addition to this DJT nonsense.
Yeah. But
Wait,
again,
wasn't there an
a lot of
NFT
this
one before though? Wasn't there?
Yeah, there was.
Like
there
trading, like Trump trading cards or something.
Yep.
Well, there was also shoes.
There were shoes. There was a university. There's a golf club. Yeah, I mean, this guy knows this is what he does. He blows out. Yeah,
a presidency. I know another one maybe. You know.
That's right.
He was in Home Alone too. I mean, this guy is everywhere. Yeah,
I did love that.
He did. Yeah, he's done a few. At least I think 3. NFT things. I think he's raised an insane amount of money, and he even did something where like if you bought one, you got to go have dinner with him in like Mar-a-Lago or some shit. I mean, it's kind of clown world, but
damn,
I feel like we should let's park Trump and come back to him in a little bit. Let's talk some more numbers. And I'm sure we'll talk some Trump in a little bit. Phil, so we had 9 sats per VByte. Like what's no one's transacting on chain? Like
apparently, look, from everything
the shitcoiners run out of money. Like, is this
the shitcoiners have run out of money, but also Bitcoin's security budget is under attack. Like Bitcoin's just not going to make it, right? The miners aren't profitable, and we need layer 2s or AI or a combination of both to save us. Apparently, this is what the shitcoiners will have us believe. So I don't know how much of that I buy, but that's the type of narratives that are being spun out of the the shitcoin publications. Do you think we need those things? I don't think we do.
I can't believe people were getting freaked out about the ordinal shit in terms of, it's like it's a net buyer at low prices, which is fine. But this idea that was going to always stay, or that this was some novel state actor attack that, they can recycle the funds forever or what, it's just basic. It's Bitcoin 101. That doesn't make more Bitcoin it was just dumb. It was a very, very dumb. I think the filter boys have kind of completely lost their ethical play, their technical ethical play, which I think was just the wrong one. And the correct one obviously was just like, Bitcoin will be fine, just like let it work itself out. And obviously, like, here we are, and there will be spikes again and whatever, and there will always be spikes, but like the market clears, the mempool clears. It's gonna happen. So yeah, always kind of a lost cause, I thought.
It's too bad initially, because what happens is that kind of the extreme points of views are what make the most noise.
Yeah.
And kind of like the people that are actually trying to figure out, is this really a concern? Like, it's like you're not extreme enough, so your point is almost, and I don't mean you personally, but I just mean the people who have that point of view, that their view is like almost invalid, right? So it's like if you're not for the filters, then you're against us. And I remember that narrative spinning out at the beginning, and I'm like, wait a second, I'm like, just because somebody's offering a solution, so to speak, that doesn't mean it is a solution, number one. Number two, it doesn't mean it's the right thing to do. Number three, have we actually sat there and really looked at this to figure out, is this something different, or is this just a blip on the screen? Like, I find that it's this kind of like the concern trolling with this time-sensitive narrative creation, right? So it's like, this is a heavy concern, and we need to fix this now. And this is like what kind of riles people up into this, this kind of frenzy to make a decision that's not even fucking based on anything that they've researched. It's just based on feelings. This is how I feel. The Bitcoin network's being attacked. I feel,
Yeah. And that,
I don't know.
I think you really nailed it with that, the feeling over sort of what's actually being presented, or just what we should all understand about Bitcoin and the way it can be attacked. A fee attack just doesn't work in the sense that they eventually run out of money if they have a domination control over hash or something, sure, then they can kind of recycle some funds or whatever.
What happens if they pay miners out of band with fiat?
Well, that's what they're doing. That's what a lot of, like, I think a lot of the miners that have survived have been subsidized by fiat. I mean, I think that's pretty, generally true. I mean, just
see, the way I look at it is the ones
on an insane amount of hash rate as hash price is going down, and it will always go down. And the hash rate has 50%ed in the last 2 years or whatever, as things have just kind of gone down. Hash price wise, it's just gone down. I think they're subsidized, right?
The irony is it makes it less profitable for everyone, right? You have an artificially increased hash rate essentially.
Well, that was always going to happen.
Sure, but the way that I look at it is rather than it's kept alive by by extra fiat, it's more I see it as that certain miners have artificially grown with fiat, just like many other fiat businesses, right? That they use debt to grow. And I actually think the ones that haven't done that, I actually think, as far as I'm aware, are better placed in Bitcoin. The miners that haven't used fiat are actually, that aren't publicly traded, that aren't don't have a bunch of debt, are actually the ones doing better.
We'll see how it plays out
in a more sustainable way. Yeah.
Well, we're also seeing some consolidation already starting. I mean, this, you know what I mean? This market isn't even that old.
Rates issues, don't you?
It's you can already see how this is building out, right? I forget who it was that bought out Bitfarms, but it wasn't ClearSpark. Was it Tether?
Well, Tether, they didn't buy him out, but they gave him
they gave him a lifeline.
They gave him 9 figures.
We're going to talk about Tether. We're going to talk a little bit.
I think
about
it was,
Tether.
or maybe it was BitDeer. If it's BitDeer, I apologize to Bitfarms for the association. It might have been BitDeer. I could be wrong there. I'm sorry.
But I remember reading through this yesterday already. Where exactly. We're not looking up facts right in front of our face or anything like that. It's just recalling. And I know that there's already been the beginning of consolidation in that sector, because let's face it, right? The guys who did not finance that debt at a cheap enough rate are just struggling. So they've got to sell off assets. Huh?
Riot bought some.
Oh,
Riot
there you go.
Bitfarms.
Yeah. So Tether put in 150 mil into BitDeer. In
there
May.
you go.
So not Bitfarms. I apologize.
All right. Well, we're going to no. You know what? It's just completely unacceptable. We're gonna have to stop the show right now.
Well, hey, I don't want to be, shooting from the hip and
fuck that. We're PlebUnderground
with such. Well, fair enough, but it's still nice to be accurate, and so.
Yeah, it's okay.
Correct the record.
Everybody's a broken clock. We all accept it. All right, let's go into our first numbers article. It's kind of this should probably be reserved for REKT, but I figured, you know what? Fuck it. We'll just put it in the numbers. So check this out. Something that Walton and Mark already know very well. Okay. None of the shitcoins have solved the Oracle problem, and our magic number for the numbers is 7.5 million. All right. So there we go, guys. The Oracle problem is not solved by the shitcoiners. It's not solved by anyone. Okay. And this is just a great reminder not to mess with this shit. Okay. They want you to believe that they figured out the Oracle problem, but the reality is all the oracles are centralized. It doesn't matter if your shitcoin comes from different places to fund it. Okay. It doesn't make a difference. It's always a central entity that is setting this up, and it is always a point of failure. Anyways. So yeah, guys, the magic number, 7.5 million. Don't trust the phony oracles. They do not work. And our second number is, that's right. We're going to have to talk about this Indian exchange, right? 200.
That's a big number.
That's a very big number. That's why I started with the smaller number, and we went to
it's very big. We see trillions now.
Well,
and so millions doesn't really hit it anymore. But it's crazy.
But what's funny?
That's the psyop. Now there's trillions where people still hundreds of millions. You're like, yeah, whatever.
But what's funny about this one, right? So 230 million in a quote unquote crypto exploit, right? And guys, multi-sig wallets. That's right. Okay, so multi-sig wallets on an exchange. Who do you think has more power? You or the exchange? I think we just learned a very valuable lesson. Well, yeah. I mean, I think a 200.
This is a multi-sig wallet of the exchange, and so
of the exchange,
they've got all the keys.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's just about how powerful you are at the exchange.
It's just about the point of, no, my point is this, right? All of these different players try to use these ridiculous narratives like, hey, we're secure. We're using a multi-sig wallet. We're using this, we're that. It's all just words. Doesn't matter. They just say it, and then people just buy it up, and they're like, what are you talking about? That's like the safest exchange. They're using multi-sig. So are you a holder of those keys? Like, nope. So,
that shit gets tossed around so much. The word salad, wordplay crap of like, with proof of reserves. Oh yeah, we're using chain link to do the proof of. It's like, well, what about your liabilities? What about, like, there's so many other things that a proof of reserves doesn't necessarily mean anything. People have done audits and they slide in X millions of dollars in the day of the audit. They do the audit and they slide it right back out. I mean, I don't know. It's just there's a lot of a lot of misleading to put it the most kindest way possible. A lot of fraud too, but misleading statements about sort of centralized security, certainly quite a bit. But it's not just a blockchain or crypto or Bitcoin thing. I mean, we've seen rampant fraud across the financial system.
Absolutely.
Like specifically in this way, with liabilities versus revenues coming in and actual things on the books. And I mean, it's been going on for 50 years easily, saving and loan crisis through 2008 through 2020, where we are now. I mean, it's just we're going to see a lot more bank issues.
Oh, absolutely.
You know how products have this thing called built-in obsolescence, right? Like that they're like designed to break down like over time. Sure. I wonder if maybe that sort of concept applies to all industries as a consequence of fiat. And so if you look at like the big, like the big consulting and accounting firms, right? Like Deloitte, who are these guys? Accenture. I'm talking about KPMG. All these big
Ernst & Young
firms that are full of like people with high political quotient that kind of cozy up to government, that do all these sort of things, cozy up to banks, and maybe they deliberately don't do a good job because it creates more work for them.
Accenture is
like if we do some accounting here that's not great but like not criminal, then it creates more work for our buddies, and then like they do the same, and then there's just there's infinite work for our consulting firms, and inflation. So
I mean, the accounting firms have played such a large role in a lot of the financial fraud and things that we've seen in the last 30 years.
Right, we saw the ratings agencies, like 20, like what is it, 15 years ago, 16 years ago now, like.
Yeah, and also just like, I mean, I've been digging a lot into Enron. I've been having a lot of fun. I'm on this really crazy research hole, and the role that Arthur Andersen played in kind of doing the accounting, and like, I mean, the way that they were anytime they signed a deal, they would put it on the books as revenue, even if the deal eventually fell through. Yeah, find it. I'm gonna find it. It's ridiculous the way that accounting practices really dictate so much of our financial standing, and especially when you then start to slosh around, mortgages and people's savings, and now that Glass-Steagall's repealed, and like insurance groups and mortgage banks and investment banks are all under the same roof. They're cross state lines. This was all stuff that kind of happened in the late 90s. Yep. The derivatives market just goes insane. And now, it pops. And then the government is forced to bail out these too big to fail banks. And it's funny because now I feel like we're all really psyoped into being, and again, I'm not saying I'm cucking for central banks, but we're all psyoped into being the Javier Malays of like, fuck central banks. But it's like, well, no, like who fucked the central bank and made them have to print all of these trillions of dollars? It was the private banks that did all these games with like our parents' mortgages and all this shit. And it's like, it was kind of the private sector that obviously kind of wags the dog here. But the blame is all put on, like, everyone gets mad at the CIA. Everyone gets mad at the central bank. Yes, they suck, but they're kind of goons to Wall Street.
They were trying to make everyone not like be homeless because the
Right.
mortgages and stuff, right? I found the meme, by the way. So this is from 2002, but it may be around even longer. So they're basically comparing, I guess, economic ideologies, right? So feudalism goes, you have 2 cows and your lord takes some of the milk, right? Capitalism, you have 2 cows, you sell one and buy a bull, your herd multiplies, the economy grows, you sell them and you retire on the income, all right? Here's now Enron capitalism, or Enronism as they're calling it here. You have 2 cows. You borrow 80% of the forward value of the 2 cows from your bank, then buy another cow with 5% down and the rest financed by the seller on a note callable if your market cap goes below 20 billion at a rate 2 times prime. You now sell 3 cows to your publicly listed company using letters of credit opened by your brother-in-law at a second bank, then execute a debt equity swap with an associated general offer so that you get 4 cows back with a tax exemption for 5 cows. The milk rights of 6 cows are transferred via an intermediary to a Cayman Island company secretly owned by the majority shareholder who sells the rights to 7 cows back to your listed company. The annual report says the company owns 8 cows with an option on 1 more. The transaction process is upheld by your independent auditor, which does not provide a balance sheet. A press release is issued announcing that Enron, as a major owner of cows, will begin trading cows via the internet site Cows on Web. Basically, it's make it up and try not to get caught. It's a clever fraud, but you know.
And you could replace cow with U.S. Treasuries or dollars, and replace Enronism with Bitfinexism.
I thought we weren't talking about Tether yet. Okay.
We're gonna get into that. No, we're getting into that. We're getting into that because this is it. This wraps up the numbers, and we're gonna move it right over into the Fireside Chat. The Fireside Chat is brought to you by CypherSafe. Check them out at cyphersafe.io. Check out the Bitcoin Relo Triangle. 16 ounces of solid titanium for the pet rock enjoyer in your life. Or maybe you are the pet rock enjoyer. I am the pet rock enjoyer in my life. Anyways, absolutely beautiful craftsmanship. The Bitcoin Relo Triangle at cyphersafe.io. Let's dive into the Fireside Chat with Mark. So, like I was telling you before the show, right? I didn't realize that you were doing the tour. Okay, I didn't realize the tour was happening. I saw the awesome episodes that you did on what Bitcoin did, parts 1 and 2 with Whitney Webb, and also today I saw a tweet about the Tales from the Crypt episode, or TFTC. Sorry, we can't call it Tales from the Crypt. The TFTC episode, which that I have not watched yet. Okay. That's a good acronym. Yeah, because it originally was.
So that's the backronym, exactly. Yeah.
Oh, that's it. They changed it. Okay, good. Yeah. See, like that's awesome. But yeah. So all right, you've already had those discussions. Okay. This is going to be much more the tinfoil hat take, and so I'm going to start off with the overall general question. How fucking captured is this space? We're going to start off with just a big general, like we're just going to put a blanket over everything and just kind of pull back the blanket slowly, you know?
Well, I think you could answer it almost. It would be a shorter list to say like what isn't captured. I think would probably be.
I thought the answer is 69%.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, man. It is a little demoralizing sometimes, frankly, that there's so much discourse and so much slop content kind of just dumped out. No offense to a lot of people, but that is not really challenging things. We've kind of forgot a lot of our ethos, I think, as Bitcoiners. We've gotten this number go up.
About this. Like, this is why PlebUnderground exists, right? Well, it's like because corporate interests want to buy media. Right.
Totally. That's why I'm on this show versus, I've been asked to go on a lot of things and I don't always do them. There are some people out there that I think are doing really good stuff, for sure. And I think the space is sort of kind of starting to wake up, which is really cool. But yeah, there's a lot of corporate capture. I mean, it's like, we're unfortunately in this realm of content creation where it's so sponsorship heavy and algo incentivized stuff. It's not just always capital incentives. It's like, I'm curating my content for the algo. I'm changing headlines. I'm bumping these things. I'm not engaging with this person and engaging with this person because they get X amount. You know, I have a sailor clip on. It does 333,000 views or whatever the fuck, you know, like things like that. And I think it's yeah, we've sort of lost our way a little bit of you know, let's do stuff that's interesting to us and not just algo posting, because that's kind of like the, you know, we talk a lot about in our most recent piece, like sort of these like data brokers, these guys that run these social networks, and they're not good people really. And I think these social networks are not good for us in general. You know, there's a lot of things done about how like Facebook and Instagram, like, you know, are really like fucking up, you know, people's, you know, self-love. And,
Yeah.
you know, little girls going on fucking Instagram and.
But it's also about like perception of others, right? Like the
totally.
People say that okay, social media. The problem with social media is we were never meant to be this watched, and like, maybe we were really never meant to watch other people as much. It's like you can because you see kind of not too much of someone, but it's like you see. It's like you can. I don't know. You suddenly come across some opinion that they have. And oh well, now I'm not going to be friends with this person because they're an idiot about one thing. And it's like you don't do that in real life, but you people do that sort of thing, like on, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I try to have a mix on Twitter, but it's, you know, it can be difficult.
Yeah.
Some people are annoying, and then you're like, you know, mute or.
Yeah, for sure. And I think the mute button is a very underutilized tool, and I've been using it a lot more recently. But I think there's a great point there about the content consumption. I think there's a lot of talk about how social media, you know, sort of you know, what we put out there, the data that we give away to these companies, the things we sign off to when we don't read user agreements and just click accept, and then all the data on your phone or all the app related stuff on your browser, whatever, is all getting fed to these data brokers that then sell it to other people. Like private sector can then just sell it to the public sector or other private sector, whatever. But there is something to be said, I think, about the content that we consume. And now that, you know, these are not good people that run these social networks, and they have all the data on us, and they want us to be highly emotional, so we're easily manipulated, and they want to push us into certain ways, and they can really simulate and stimulate kind of anything that they want by feeding us very specific types of content, and which content gets promoted, which type of people that are making that content get promoted. And it's not like the guys that run Twitter are sitting around making all this content. They create an environment that incentivizes the content creators to go for the likes, to create the type of content that they want to see. I mean, I see it all the time on Twitter, which Twitter is really the only one that I have any sort of daily exposure to. And even that is trying to kind of move to publish only, like group chats, and then publish only is really kind of how I use Twitter. But like, you know, I started to see it 8 months ago of just like a lot of violence and a lot of like fucked up shit on my feed. And, you know, it really manipulates you a lot and kind of forces you into certain boxes. We see like things have gotten so crazy, and they're going to get so much crazier as we get closer to election time.
Outrage gets the most interaction, and so like whatever, like what I try and do is like fuck with the system, like make it think that I'm like pissed off about this or like I hate like and just like and now it doesn't seem to be able to fuck with me as much. Like you have to like fight back. You have to fight back against the algorithm on social media. Like and it is possible a little bit, like but
also it's not just fighting. I mean, I think there is content creators that need to push back and fight back, but also we got to just opt out a little bit. I mean, it's we opt into so many of these control mechanisms that we all point out, whether it's like the surveillance state, whether it's the biomedical state, whether it's whatever, the political state. Like we opt in all the time, and we throw our hat in the arena stupidly, and that's sort of how they catch us. You know, our time is really the only commodity, our attention. They've created serotonin loops where they can just catch us in these algo holes. And even the smartest people, I think the people that are most aware of this fall into this shit all the time. And then as things accelerate, as QAnon gets crazier, as Trump is becoming this messianic figure, and it was divine intervention, he wasn't killed, and all this shit. And we're seeing all these guys, the Rumble Boys and the sort of alternative media people coming in and pushing all of this like stuff. I mean, it's just an onslaught of shit. We haven't even dealt with, I mean, Assange just got out. like 3 weeks ago or whatever. No one's even talking about that anymore. We've moved on. Things are just moving so fast, and they're going to accelerate so fast as we get into election season. That like, I really hope people kind of like, it's a meme, but like touch grass and back off and like see what these things are doing to you and how they manipulate you, because this is a perception war, because our reality really is our perception. And we're choosing to pick up our phones. We're choosing to dive into these things. They can't really do anything to us if we don't play on their games and in their systems. So we need to find alternative routes to publish, alternative routes to share things, alternative ways to have connections with people. And it sounds a little hippy dippy, but we really need to do that. I am on Nostr, but I don't connect it to my public identity. It's sort of that's just sort of how I like to use Nostr, but I understand why people use it that way, and kudos and all that. But
have you still managed to kind of grow a following in the same sort of way? Like, do you still have like a network that like you really kind of communicate with, or is it harder to do it? And
I don't really post much, honestly, on there. The only stuff I've ever really posted are things that I've kind of wanted to have other people store. And sort of like, information stuff, but I don't really use it as like a social networking thing yet anyway, but I think that might change. I'm not sure. There's a lot of interesting stuff happening in this space. I think it has some interesting applications for Bitcoin communications. A lot of Bitcoin transactions.
The other day, I saw if you go on Tidal, you can connect your NPub to your Tidal account. I don't know why you'd want to do that, but like I haven't explored it. I'm like, I don't think I really want to do that, but yeah, you can.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's weird. I'm not. That's the first like bit of kind of commercial software, but it's because Tidal's owned by Jack Dorsey, right? Like, he bought it off Jay-Z. And
Dorsey. And Dorsey fucking goes on at the HRF,
and he loves it. Yeah, he loves Nostr.
And but at this thing, he had a conversation where he said that free speech is a distraction, and really it's about freedom of choice and freedom of will, and it's about us having the freedom of choice to choose between the algos. And said that we shouldn't worry about open box algos. It was just a very confusing, muddy take. Elon, of course, signal boosts it on X and is like, we shouldn't be.
I was there, like, and I got a different take on it. Like, my take was freedom of speech is important, but what's also important is the freedom to not be influenced in certain ways by algorithms. And you can't do that if you don't have the ability to kind of pick the algorithm. I think that, at least that was my understanding. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Jack.
I don't trust Jack at all.
He wasn't the biggest pro free speech person when he was doing when he was at Twitter. Did he have much power? I don't think he did. Like, so it's like it seems like Jack's good at setting up new companies and then not having the power in them.
He's rehabilitated his career.
Has Square adopted Bitcoin? No. He set up a new company to do Bitcoin stuff, right? He's
and Larry Summers is on the board,
and new things, but he doesn't like he struggles with kind of like driving change in these companies sometimes.
Wasn't Larry one of the architects of the derivative crisis? But wasn't he one of the architects?
He was one of the main forces that deregulated.
Do you mean Terrence?
That deregulated the derivative market, not Terrence. No, Lawrence H. Summers, the shortest tenured Harvard president, Epstein affiliate, general, all-around private public ghoul, former head of the Treasury.
He's a total line, by the way. I put a special word.
I did like the Epstein. I felt very seen. And
the word apoptosis comes from cell biology, and it means programmed cell suicide. And so,
oh wow!
When it came to me the other day, I was like, I gotta use this with an Epstein line. This is
Epstein is very interesting.
Commit apoptosis. Yeah, no, he didn't commit cell suicide. That's it. Yeah.
He's very that's very clever. Many puns in there with the cell and everything. His influence peddling of scientists is very spooky. A lot of people focus very much on the sex trafficking aspect and the pedophilia, which is abhorrent and disgusting and disturbing. But he really wasn't that. He's a financial hitman.
But is Epstein's banker gonna get made like Treasury of the Secretary? Secretary of the Treasury by Trump? Do we think is that gonna?
I mean, good fucking luck. I mean, it's this idea that Trump anti-establishment candidate is pathetic, and it's so pathetic that people are buying this up and lapping it up. The JD Vance thing should be very telling. You got this guy who was a
Can you tell me
principal at
about JD
Mithril
Vance? Because
Capital.
I don't know about him. He's a TradFi guy.
He's a protege of Peter Thiel.
Yeah, he's a VC guy who worked at Mithril Capital.
Spook tech guy.
Yeah, I mean, he's invested. Mithril Capital put a bunch of money into Palantir, which is like a PayPal CIA spinoff. That
it's the CIA's tech arm. It's like DARPA Web3 or something like.
In the same way that CBDCs are a red herring, and it's going to be private sector digital currencies, PBDCs. That's sort of what's happening with the surveillance state. I mean, we know what Facebook is. It's a continuation of the shuttered lifelog. We know that.
Do you see it as a liability thing? It's like it's not us. It's not the government doing these things. It's this company doing these things. And we didn't know about that. It's just about plausible deniability, right? It's just bullshit.
I mean, Palantir, they got all of their initial contracts from the CAA. I mean, they just fed off all of these government contracts, but they're a private company.
It's like 90% of their contracts. I saw like a flow of the money. It's insane. How much of them?
It's totally insane. And it technically started at PayPal, which is really interesting. And PayPal actually got, I'm kind of doing a little dive on this right now, but the initial funders of PayPal was sort of this Idea Labs group that features Bill Elkis as the main principal, who was a co-signee of the J. Epstein Foundation. Then you have Jim Armstrong, who later went on and did March Capital. Who did that with Gregory Milken, who's the son of Michael Milken, who's the the Drexel guy who just like blew out all of this bullshit, and just the junk bond trader guy who was pardoned on Trump's last day in office. And then William Quigley, who's a former Disney guy, who later went on to do a bunch of group with Brock Pierce. He was part of IGE. He's considers himself a founder of Tether, although a lot of people dispute that he actually is. But so that venture, Idea Labs ended up becoming Clearstone Ventures. But it's like you got Disney, you got Epstein.
Wasn't Elon fired from there because he was like, hey, we need to make PayPal use X.com, and then they're like, no, fuck off, Elon. And then Elon eventually makes Twitter use it, right?
PayPal started in like 98, I think, as Confinity, and they had one other name as well, like NextLink or something like that, Nextfield. I'm sorry if I'm wrong on that, but something to that effect. And they initially were working on Palm Pilot encryption for like messaging. And then, then Elon ended up joining Thiel and Co. And they merged with X.com. And then, it was all the whole PayPal mafia is just like they've struck gold so many times. And you look at where their initial money came from. Idea Labs, too, very interestingly enough, held the patent that later went on to become the AdSense patent that Google makes, $40 billion or whatever a fucking year on, that Yahoo ended up owning. And so they have a licensing agreement with Yahoo for them to do like their whole business model. But there's like kind of this whole weird patent play and all of this stuff with this group. But so the initial funding of PayPal, which then literally spawned Palantir, which is like the private CIA, came out of this group. And these guys are all super heavily connected all over the Bitcoin space and really early Bitcoin space. Obviously, Brock Pierce, who then did stuff with William Quigley, did IGE, which was like selling World of Warcraft gold. Steve Bannon from Goldman ends up coming in and taking over for him as CEO as the company. And he leaves and then goes and starts Blockchain Capital and Tether and Block One. Block One is the only like formal company that Brock ever did with Peter Thiel.
Peter Thiel, EOS seed Thiel's EOS as well. I don't know.
Yeah, he's one of the seed funders of it. Yeah, heavily involved with that. Yeah, for sure. So now that group is bullish and they own CoinDesk. So you want to talk about infiltration in the space and all that stuff? We have the Tether people, the Bitfinex gang. They were incorporated with Appleby and the USVI, which is heavily connected with Epstein. They're the sort of this book company that does all this offshore incorporating. Then they've incredibly infiltrated into the space, I would say. I don't want to take any shots at the dark at anybody or anything, but I think it's pretty obvious when someone is, talking and shilling about how hyperinflation will lead to $1 million Bitcoin. And then, literally in the same sentence, they're like, but check out Tether integration in my new wallet. It's like, well, what is it, buddy? Like, what are we doing here? And we have the Tether guys, they just incorporated chain analysis into their group, which is also funded by In-Q-Tel. They just brought on a former former chain analysis employee onto their staff. They're working with the FBI, the Secret Service. Paolo has come out and said, we're here to improve the hegemon status of the US dollar. Which is that's not Bitcoin, and we got people out there like a Corey Klippstein saying, hey, we're using US Treasury bills to make Bitcoin stronger. We're using the dollar to make Bitcoin stronger.
No, we're not
ridiculous.
doing that. Tether's just buying Treasury bonds, I believe, to make sure that they have that they keep their friends. I think it's about that, right? It's the pay to play, and they're paying to play. Sorry, continue.
Yeah, and who holds. Tether is really all about treasuries. Obviously, it's about financial surveillance and perpetuating the U.S. dollar hegemon, as they say, quite literally.
Wait, it's not about helping people in developing
It's about banking
countries.
the unbanked.
Yeah. Isn't.
What about the global South?
Yeah, I think it's nonsense as well. But Mark, tell the people why, because people are always like, oh, stable coins, they help the poor people, and I always want to tell them no, and but I feel like I'm not equipped enough to dispel their nonsense. So why do stable coins not help poor people, and why
I have a lot of sympathy for them. but they've it's very obvious that this faction that is supported by the US dollar and that is directly speaking to us, telling us that they are attempting to extend the hegemon of the US dollar as the world reserve currency, the people behind Tether, they're onboarding all of this, these surveillance ghouls onto their private bank digital currency. And again, everyone gets very upset about CBDCs. They're like, it's programmable, it's surveillable, it's seizable. But the government actually probably would have a lot less customer restriction rights if it was a directly issued currency from the government. They would much rather have private capital creators play this game for them, and they still get to offset their debt. Stable coins are like the 18th largest holder of U.S. debt. Tether alone is like 150 billion or something like that. Like China is only like a trillion, 1.1 trillion.
What countries does it put ahead of?
I think it's a little bit. It's in between Hong Kong and Saudi Arabia, but more than Saudi Arabia, which is just totally insane.
Petrodollar, it's the Tether
Bitcoin,
dollar.
The Bitcoin dollar. Yeah, I mean that's essentially. You look at what petrol is. It's
I heard there's a book about
energy commodity. Yeah, there is a book about that. Some schmuck wrote it, but there's an extreme analog, I think, from the petrodollar system to the Bitcoin dollar system. It's this underlying energy commodity that you need to compete in an industrial age, and there's a de facto, not a literal, but a de facto monopoly on the denomination and the ins and outs of the energy commodity. It was petrol. Immediately when we go off the gold standard, at least officially in 71, we start. Military action moves right into the Middle East, and we start doing all this fuckery. And we make this deal with Saudi Arabia, and they say, hey, price oil in dollars. You want to buy oil, you got to buy dollars first, so we can offset all of this demand of this inflationary, dollar system. We can just shove it all onto anyone in Asia, anyone in global South, anyone in South America that wants to buy oil to industrialize, which everybody basically needed to in the 70s, 80s, and 90s and the aughts. They had to buy dollars first. And now we've basically created that exact same mechanism with Bitcoin. Very interestingly, 6 weeks before the Bitcoin halving that brought it down below 2% relative issuance in May 2020, we had that March 2020 COVID crash where oil goes negative in the futures market.
I know. How fucking crazy was that? Oil went negative.
Totally insane. I was walking up and down the street like a fucking literal maniac, calling every single person I loved, being like, Bitcoin is $3,300 right now. Fucking buy one.
Yeah.
Buy one. If you can, buy one.
I had no cash.
I still remember that opportunity.
I was so committed, and I had no fucking cash that week. It was so annoying.
I was like, "This is
no comment on what I did." But but within a year, within 12 months, it had 20x. Totally insane. But yeah, so that was sort of like the birth of the Bitcoin dollar system, and now we're seeing it kind of play out. It's these stablecoin issuers are really the only serious demand for U.S. debt right now, and they can't get enough. And so basically, we create this. There's innately this king-making mechanism in the U.S. Treasury system where you have to be within the system to be able to buy these treasuries. It's not just anybody can buy $150 billion of treasuries. And then once you do, you're sort of beholden to them because the government can sort of seize them and basically tell you to go fuck off. Or shut you down with any sort of regulations that they want. So then they're forced to chain analysis, the FBI, Secret Service, whatever. So if you want to come out here and say that all this stuff was started in good faith, I can't argue that. I don't think so, but I can't argue with that. But I can tell you what it is now, and they're heavily controlled by the regulatory arm of the United States because they sort of have to because of the mechanism of the Treasury market. And so now we have people coming out like Walter Hessert, the head of strategy at Paxos, being like, "There's going to be trillions of dollars of stable coins, highly regulated, in the next few years." So what does that mean? Well, it means trillions of dollars of printing, because those T-bills have to come from somewhere. And then he also claims that USDT and USDC won't really survive the oncoming regulatory vibe, and that PayPal is actually really set up to take over with PYUSD, which is obviously they're shilling their bags. They're the issuers for PayPal stablecoin. But you could argue that there is a case there to be made. And so that you look at, well, what actually needs to happen for a Bitcoin dollar system to come in? Well, first off, you need all the Bitcoin back in the United States. So we started to see that the onshoring with the ETFs, we got almost 800,000 Bitcoin come back into the United States. Maybe it was in the United States already, but now it's in the United States, like the highest regulatory place in the United States. And then you have to make sure that it remains a liability and it doesn't become an asset on the accounting, getting back to accounting, how important that is. So if you keep it as a liability, Basel III requirements come in, all these capital requirements, you're actually forcing people that hold Bitcoin on the books. MicroStrategy has however many 100,000 Bitcoin on the books. If Bitcoin appreciates, an insane amount, and they're being told for accounting purposes they need to keep all of these dollars on the books as well, suddenly they're a huge net buyer of dollars and they need a ton of dollars on the books, and it forces demand for dollars. And then you could have someone like a PYUSD or a USDC or a Tether as a service say, here, you can hold these dollars as a liability in these tokenized dollars on your balance sheet, and we'll give you a fee to basically offset your Bitcoin holdings in the same way you would like buy carbon credits or whatever. So these stablecoin issuers are like chomping at the bit for what's going to happen next. And it's interesting to see, like this bill that was just vetoed by Biden, it was going to no longer refer to crypto as a liability, and then he vetoes it, which is very, very interesting. Maybe why did he veto it? So I think there's a lot of shenanigans going on in the crypto space. JD Vance is like writing a new crypto bill that's supposed to come out like pretty soon. So I think maybe we'll have some more answers in a little bit here. But I think that there's a lot of regulatory kingmaking to be made, and there's already so much of it innately in the space. So, and again, we can't ignore the action versus rhetoric. Trump was the best Bitcoin president when he was in office. He talked a lot of shit and tweeted out about all this stuff, but what did he actually do? Brings in the former, VP of Coinbase, Brian Brooks, to come in and be the OCC, and he passed guidance that said that banks could hold crypto assets, which and specifically some stablecoin stuff. It really kicked off this whole, modern financializing of Bitcoin. Now we got BlackRock going balls deep. Yeah, of course. And now we have, and Coinbase again. They bought the Zappos custodial service in 2019, but they custody 8 of the 11 Bitcoin ETFs, and they are partnered with the DOJ. The DOD, they are innately tied in with the state.
They have
for
Citibank
sure.
guys on their board, and Zappo are very, very I don't.
Zappo is very interesting.
Why, when you have as much Bitcoin as Cesares does, why do you do that? I don't get it. It's like they all want to have an empire, right? It's like the Winklevoss guys. They want to have this thing that makes them look impressive to other TradFi guys that they wanted to impress years ago or whatever it is. But I have a couple of questions just before we need to probably move on to the other sections of the show. The first is why do you like picking fights with other journalists? I personally found it very entertaining. You versus the second best British Bitcoin MC. Mr. Joe Nakamoto. Yeah. So apparently you're cherry picking. You cherry pick and you're a shill.
Yeah. Well, hey, I just want to say this first and foremost. I've done panels with Joe a couple times. I think he's an extremely nice guy, and I'm not backpedaling here. I really do. He's super sweet.
Yeah, it's not about that. It's not.
But yeah, and I think he has every right to say whatever he wants, and he can shit on me for not sucking Tether's dick. But the fact is, he is paid by Tether. He works on this Bitfinex Financial Freedom Tour, which is fine. You can take money and do that and whatever. This idea that it's one-sided, I think, is so ridiculous when, as we've just said, I mean, this space is very captured by Tether interest, by dollar interest. It makes a lot of sense.
Bought by Tether, and so like, shouldn't everyone be able to be bought by Tether? Like, isn't that how it goes? Like,
anybody can be bought by Tether.
Scamson Mao wants to try and help countries all over the world do something.
Yeah, I mean, again, you have every right to take money from and perpetuate, do PR, whatever it is that you want. But I think this, we really shouldn't be holding.
What Tether won't do? Tether won't sponsor any event on U.S. soil.
Interesting.
It's interesting.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and Synonym won't hire anybody from the U.S. and they get paid.
Funny. They'll buy a load of U.S. treasuries, but they are very skirt when it comes to not being in the US for anything with any of their money, with any of that. But it's weird.
But this idea that
the treasuries can come back, so
it's like, oh, but they give so much money to Bitcoin education. It's like, yeah, they're buying consent for the dollarization of Bitcoin and the perpetuation that Bitcoin is only an asset and not a currency, and not, hey, no, the peer-to-peer stuff of Bitcoin sucks. Let's do the Michael Saylor shit. Let's make it an asset, a commodity. It's digital property. Don't ever sell it.
One to pay with
and use Tether,
right? Not
totally.
Bitcoin, right?
Yeah. Right. And I think that is just not the way to go forward personally. I sympathize and empathize with the people that are using it that, are trying to avoid inflation in Argentina or whatever. But I think pushing them onto these highly surveillable rails that are literally onboarded with U.S. intelligence that can seize and blacklist at any point because they're private banks, I think is not the answer. And this idea that it's financial freedom, I think, is sort of ridiculous. It's you're giving them the ability to be rugged. I mean, these are tokenized, Ponzi rail. A lot of them are on Tron, they're on Ethereum. It's just, there's a lot of issues with the way that this thing is built out, and it's being perpetuated as this freedom tool. And I just completely push back on that. And Tether, let's also say Tether is doing a bunch of crazy shit too with their money. Yeah, maybe they gave 1 Bitcoin away to Joe Nakamoto to go drive around in a car or whatever and promote financial freedom. Great. He should take the money, do whatever he wants. But they're also putting $30 million into satellite companies that are chaired by Steve Mnuchin. They're putting in a bunch of money into BlackRock Neurotech, which is doing brain chip stuff. They're putting a bunch of money into AI. Why does a Tether company that's trying to do financial freedom need to have a surveillance government contracted satellite company investment? Riddle me that. With Howie Lutnick on the board, who owns Cantor Fitzgerald, who holds all the T-bills for Tether. Joe Dunford.
Circle back. There's so many. There's too many rabbit holes, Mark. I want to know about what Roundtable Media is. Apparently, David Bailey and Brock Pierce, and some guy James Heckman, who I've never heard of. Who
James
seems
Heckman.
He's got some moves. They partnered up in 2021, which seems kind of late to be partnering up with Brock Pierce, but maybe we'll have to David
not my choice.
Answer some questions sometime.
I've actually tweeted out about this before too, because I actually had no idea. I found out about that kind of much later on. It seems like that would be not the best judgment used by some people that I actually do respect and like. I'm kind of confused by that. I know James Heckman. I've met him before. I know his son. Decently nice people. I don't know them super well. Obviously, I don't trust Brock at all.
Crazy.
I don't know. I don't get it. There's a lot of weird Brock Pierce connections. I've been doing a lot of obviously digging on that. The lady that ran
to Hollywood. Connections.
Also, has anyone ever seen him and David Spade in the same room? Because I'm convinced no one has ever seen them in the same room, right? It's creepy.
Yeah. I mean, just we'll leave it here, and then we can move on to more rabbit holes. But the lady that managed his presidential career was Brittany Kaiser, who was one of the head people at Cambridge Analytica, which was that whole big Facebook. Yeah, so there's a lot of spooky stuff going on there. I also found recently that he paid $100,000 to have dinner with Steve Mnuchin, which is very interesting. So there's a whole bunch. There's a whole bunch of stuff in
and
there.
Now David Bailey's selling dinner with Trump. It's a complete circle. Perfect. $866,000 a seat. Let's go. All right.
This is fine. Okay, so Mark,
I just want to say I do really like David Bailey personally. I do like him. I don't know why he's doing stuff with Brock Pierce. No comment.
Yeah.
We'll find out. We'll end up finding out, I'm sure. But look, before we move on
next week. That's my mission next week.
Before we move on,
do it.
Let's where can people get your book? And how can people get in touch with you, even though you don't want them getting in touch with you?
No, you can get in touch with me. It's fine.
Okay, good.
There's plenty of room in this sauna. Come on in. No.
Somewhere North America. Good luck finding me.
Yeah, exactly. No, you can find the book. You can actually just do thebitcoin-dollar.com. And you can find my book there. It links directly to it's published by Bitcoin Magazine. You can also find it on Amazon. And then you can find me on Twitter at Mark Good W_IN.
Awesome.
Like Mark Goodwin, but between the W and the I, there's a little underscore there. So
we are going to put that in the show notes for everyone. Guys, this wraps up the Fireside chat, and we're going to move it on over to not the Hopium. We're going to move it on over to REKT. I think a good portion of Bitcoiners, not a good portion of the country even, probably saw this speech. Now, there was a very interesting part of the speech, and it's amazing that we have Mark as our guest today because there's like kind of like an assumption here, right? There's an assumption that is he attacking El Salvador? Is he attacking Venezuela? Somebody else mentioned Colombia. There was a little bit of confusion. Okay, so my personal opinion is that he was referring to Nayib Bukele and El Salvador. That was my personal opinion. So we're going to watch this clip, okay? And then we're going to talk about this because this kind of goes back to what we were talking about with Tether and the dollar hegemony. And, let's be honest, right? The IMF is not too pleased necessarily with El Salvador. The reality is that central bankers, regardless of what team they are on, do not like countries that they can't entirely control. So anyways, I find this very interesting here. Let's listen to this.
Going to happen. Meanwhile, our crime rate is going up while crime statistics all over the world are going down because they're taking their criminals and they're putting them into our country, a certain country. And I happen to like the president of that country very much, but he's been getting great publicity because he's a wonderful shepherd of the country. He says how well the country's doing because their crime rate is down. And he said he's training all of these rough people. They're rough. He's training them. And I've been reading about this for 2 years. I think, oh, that's wonderful. Let's take a look at it. But then I realized he's not training them. He's sending all of his criminals, his drug dealers, his people that are in jails. He's sending them all to the United States. And he's different in that he doesn't say that. He's trying to convince everybody what a wonderful job he does in running the country. Well, he doesn't do a wonderful job. And by the way, if I ran one of the countries, many countries from all over, I would be worse than any of them. I would have had the place totally emptied out already.
Insane.
Isn't it? We become a dumping ground for the rest of the world, which is laughing at us. They think we're stupid. And they can't believe that they're getting away with what they're getting away with, but they're not going to be getting away with it for long. That's what I can tell you. Our cities will be so unsafe, we will not be able to have it there in El Salvador. Murders are down by 70%. Why are they down? Now, he would have you convinced that because he's trained murderers to be wonderful people. No. They're down because they're sending their murderers to the United States of America.
Okay, so look. I think that's clear, right? Like, who else is he talking about?
Yeah.
I think that was pretty clear.
It's a great show. It's a great show. I mean, the U.S. has just done so much fuckery. The U.S. has just done so much fuckery in South and Central America. It's totally insane.
Yeah, it is.
Obviously, El Salvador is a dollarized country. Now they're Bitcoinized. maybe a Bitcoin dollar country. Yeah, kind of crazy. I mean, I think there's a lot to talk about there. Obviously, I think there are some concerns, frankly, about, the private prison model, and this idea that Trump is like, I would just throw everybody in a prison. And I think there are some, who built this 40,000 person prison. And there are some things that I think are sort of, these people get, positioned as being these huge champions of freedom and these libertarians and whatever. And then they're like all about the police force. And I think that, again, this is sort of framing, they're manufacturing consent for framing the immigration crisis as being an invasion so that they can start to use literal military technology developed by Endurio and Palantir to, make the border wall be this like drone biometric scan. They have to frame it as an invasion for people to sort of buy into it. And that's really happening. And I think people are getting really, really, frankly, psyoped by the private sector CIA, the Eric Princes of the world, the Palmer Luckies of the world, and obviously the Peter Thiels that are building out these systems. Go check out Unlimited Hangout. Whitney's written kind of everything about these guys. There's a really good one on the border wall specifically. And I think you have to frame it like that in order to, get consent for this stuff. It's so dumb. All the answers for everything is surveillance. It doesn't really make a lot of sense. I don't want drone walls. I don't want biometric walls. I don't want vaccine passports. A lot of these things that I think, should be super obvious. I don't want overhanded and over leveraged police departments, basically militarized, because that can be so quickly turned against you, especially when you have sort of these metric, pre-crime policing analytic companies, running all of the software. It's like, well, I'm a fucking dissident because I live in a fucking sauna in the middle of the woods and I talk about how the state can suck it. And am I on a list? I don't want to be blown up by a drone, so why are we like talking about how this is this wonderful freedom technology, the Trump campaign is going to bring up, it's going to be so based and all this stuff. And I think the right wing, the dissident right specifically, is being completely bamboozled by this guy who did basically everything possible to privatize the surveillance state, the biomedical state with Operation Warp Speed. I mean, Palantir ran it. Thiel was on Trump's transition team. JD Vance is a fucking Thiel goon. I think this is a very slippery slope and people should wake the fuck up. And this obviously, and then, you look at the assassination attempt, right? It's like, so now are we going to have like an anti-gun Trump or something? Like what's going to happen here? So I think we should all be really wary of a bunch of these things personally.
I appreciate your take on that, and definitely the anti-gun Trump. I don't think we're going to see. There's actually when that happened, I was thinking to myself, I'm like, you know what, this is going to be a great opportunity to take away more freedom, right, under the guise of increased security. But I think that hopefully, I shouldn't say I think, I'm hopeful that the conversation changes into how do we address mental illness. Okay, because I think that that's really the problem. Like I don't think that gun control is really the problem. I think
attention, it's
mental illness.
The problem with mental health is mental health awareness. Everyone's too aware of mental health right now. People need to just go, hey, I'm having a bad day. I need to get on with my shit. And like maybe it's just like they need to zoom the fuck out. But it's hard. Like the fiat world makes it very hard to zoom out with a whole bunch of things.
So speaking,
we have a mental health awareness pandemic right now, and that's a big problem with mental health. That's how I see it. It's like I walked through, I was in some store earlier today, and it was like some book. It's okay to not be okay. It's like that's a terrible like why is this a book? Like why are you telling like no, we need to like actually like pull people up. But the reason why there's a mental health pandemic is actually because there's a like fiat erosion of society, and if politicians acknowledge that there's a mental health pandemic, and I see a lot of the like alphabet gang stuff flowing into that, is that actually if they acknowledge there is the mental health problems that there are, then they'd actually need to acknowledge maybe why there is the extent of the mental health problems, which is the fact that they fucked the money and ruined everything. But also, and we got sunshine, and there's nice girls over on this side too. So Bitcoin is winning, and so is Mark.
Yes, but little black pills here also. I mean, we look at, well, what are these big things driving mental health issues? I think the public education system is a fucking shit show. And who led the public education system under Trump? It was Betsy DeVos, who is literally Eric Prince's fucking sister.
Yeah, but
and
the education system does edutainment, Mark,
and who
because parents
exactly
can't do consistent parenting.
Yes,
why?
but
because
who
they can't support
ran,
each other. Why? Because fear debasement means they
Let
both
Mark
have
explain.
to work. And go on.
who was in charge of the public sector education system when everything shut down and everything went privatized on digital applications? It was Betsy DeVos. It's not good. These are not good things. We should be aware of these things. Eric Prince they want him to take over the Pentagon. It's fucking insane. This guy wants to flood out the tunnels in fucking Gaza. And he said he offered and donated a solution to do that. And the Pentagon stopping him. And Raytheon is so inefficient. Fuck Raytheon, fuck the Pentagon, but fuck that guy. And then what else is driving the mental health crisis? It's an interconnectivity, hyperconnectivity via social networks and content streaming platforms. And who runs all those? It's fucking Peter Thiel, it's Elon Musk, it's the same people. So you could really look at the same cabal. The privatized fucking content machine is fucking everything up here, and there's like 4 or 5 people that are like running this whole thing. It's pretty bad, and those people are very heavily connected to Trump world. So I think people should be aware of that. And I'm not some libtard. I don't give a fuck about the right or the left. I was a Trumper when I was anti-vax 4 years ago or whatever, and I haven't changed my position at all. And now I'm a fucking commie because I think Trump sucks. It's ridiculous. I haven't changed my opinion at all. I've stood in the center of, my ideals.
Has the same opinion. Shinobi's like, I voted for Trump twice and now I'm creeped out.
Sure.
And I kind of get it. Yeah, it seems like this time around is Trump like too embedded with kind of the deep
he always
state
was
as much as I
he
hate
always
the expression.
was
I mean, I kind of feel like that's the case because you don't get to like take on as much debt as Trump did without doing
totally. He was
right?
bailed out by the Rothschilds in the 90s by Wilbur Ross, who was working at Rothschild Inc. And they literally said the Trump name is an asset when he did it. He shut down the country and printed more dollars than any other president ever. So what are we talking about? If you're a
president, don't you just like get a company to have like your loan documents in a building, and then you just like blow up the building, and then those loan documents don't exist anymore, and then you don't have to pay anyone back? Oh wait, sorry, I forgot. Wrong president. All right, well that's enough for that story.
Yeah, that's right. And speaking of bad days here, we're going to wrap up REKT on this story here. All right, here we go. Udi, he's an interesting fellow.
Oh, I love this. This is kind of why I kind of like David Bailey, is because David Bailey's on the right side of Swan.
This is funny. So it's kind of funny, right? It creates all of this drama. Everybody's ready with their popcorn. So this is what Udi put out after the big announcement that Trump was going to speak at Nashville, right? Sorry to bring this guy again. I know you probably forgot he existed. He's such a and look, I'm not giving support for or against anybody. I'm just saying Udi is like a master troll, and it's like if you're on fire, he's just going to pour gasoline on you. Anyways,
he's back though. Like he was terrible in the bear market.
He was
terrible in the bear market.
So here we go. But the biggest loser of this whole Bitcoin Trump thing is by far Corey Clipston. The guy built his entire identity around how much he hates Bitcoin Magazine, spends months personally attacking employees, pivoted his entire company to compete with them, and then Bitcoin Magazine scores the biggest win of all time, and Orange Pill's the literal president. Bitcoin Mag's Bitcoin 2024 conference will be the most important event in Bitcoin's history. I don't agree with that. People will talk about it for decades. No, they won't. It will be taught in history classes. I doubt that. And hopefully every single time it's brought up, it will serve as a reminder for Corey to stop being a little jealous bitch on the timeline and to keep his piss poor takes to himself. Now, that was obviously...
He could be right. He could be right about a bunch of stuff. Look, if Trump actually becomes like president, and does a strategic Bitcoin reserve, whatever the fuck that means,
no one's going to care about him being at a conference.
I just don't think he is. I think he's going to like raise a bunch of like money for himself. He's going to talk Bitcoin. Why? Because David Bailey told him there's a whole bunch of people that have money that like Bitcoin. It's actually kind of new money that right now aren't voting. Oh wait, there's a whole bunch of like undecided voters that have money, and if you come to my conference, I'll help you raise a bunch of money from them.
I just want to provide before we continue, before we get
And
your
also
take,
some
Mark.
tickets for a
I
conference.
just want to provide because Corey didn't respond to that tweet, but he did, make a response, and that was, notwithstanding trolls on Twitter, back here in real life, I'm cheering you on with all your politics effort. Keep kicking ass and turning the world orange. David Bailey. I wish I could make it to Nashville next week. Very tempted to fly over from Istanbul for a few days. So I think, you know what? Could say whatever we want, but I think that he probably handled that troll tweet from Udi really well, because I mean, look, we've been in this space for long enough. We've seen how Udi operates, and he's looking for the engagement. He's looking to have the argument.
A humbling response by Corey, which is unlike him.
Yeah, and that's but I think he did. I think he played it well.
Corey just acknowledged the checkmate. That's all that was, I think.
Yeah, but that's big, man. That's big to acknowledge it and be like, hey, I'm happy for you guys, and this is all about Bitcoin. That's way bigger than Udi sitting there and just pissing on him while being a fucking shiller of absolute garbage, dude. Udi got tons of people wrecked, and again, I'm not saying we know Corey's history with EOS and stuff like that, and we know about Swan changing their custodians and all of that. Yeah, we get it. But Udi is in a glass house. He's shooting in a glass house. So anyway, sorry, Mark, go ahead.
Well, there's a lot of things to talk about here. For starters, I think Udi is totally I think Udi is totally right about the way I think Swan handled a lot of things in regards to Bitcoin Magazine, and I witnessed it. Was a brunt of a lot of things. I don't really care, but it was pretty disappointing. I think the way that a lot of their staffers it's okay to not like ordinals or whatever, but it became just like constant personal attacks. They were berating people that didn't have BM in their bio and all. It was just like super classless.
Oh, wow.
I thought it was really lame. I like a lot of these people. A lot of the Swan people I really like, for sure. And
a lot of them used to be colleagues, right? Like.
Yeah, sure, of course, and I think generally there is this idea that everything's good for Bitcoin and yada yada, and so this idea that they can come together and it is very sweet. But unfortunately, I don't agree that everything's good for Bitcoin, and I think we should not be rolling out the carpet for these fuckers. I think Trump is one of the worst deep state goons ever, and the worst thing about him is he pretends to not be one. And I think Bitcoiners have rolled out the red carpet for Larry Fink, for Michael Saylor, who has Mayo Shattuck on the board of Alarm.com, to bring in Trump, just all this shit. It's like, who are these guys? Why are we cheering them on? No comment on what's happening with the next. I have no idea. I don't know. I have nothing to do with it anymore.
Say, right? Like a reminder, Mark doesn't choose the cover, guys.
I don't choose anything anymore. We'll leave it at that. But I'm not into the pushing of the politicians. I think it's I get why a media company wants to do it. I get for sales for the thing, and I understand and empathize again why people think everything is good for Bitcoin, but I don't. And I think that there's a lot of bad things that could happen. There's a lot of ways Bitcoin could monetize, and we don't gain any of the wonderful freedoms from it outside of maybe like 10,000 people that actually have enough coin to meaningfully transact. I'm not into it. Fuck Larry Fink. Fuck Donald Trump. So yeah, but also like, hey, some of the Swan people I really like. If you want to take pot shots and that's the way you want to kind of build the company and become a competitor to BM, like that's fine. But I think, just focus on your content, make better content. You can outcompete in so many other ways without knocking each other down all the time. Right. I don't think BM really did that at all. I don't think we really I think we bit our tongues for a really long time. But anyways, I just don't really care. I don't think much about Swan. I don't think that they really have any products that I really care about personally. There's no content that's coming out of there that I think is meaningful for me. I don't care about Twitter Spaces really.
Mining for Tether, like, isn't that a useful thing in the industry?
They can take Tether money if they want, and then talk about how everyone else is a shitcoiner when Tether is running on Tron rails and Ethereum rails, and Bitfinex is literally a shitcoin casino.
And Swan's just a Bitcoin only wrapper for shitcoin backend like nonsense. Yeah.
We told you guys
whatever they want to do.
This was going to be a spicy episode, so we warned everyone, and that's exactly it, guys.
But I don't think I'm being like inappropriate or rude or mean.
Spicy
it's like,
isn't
Corey,
inappropriate.
like, do whatever you want. I don't care.
Spicy's not inappropriate.
Yeah,
it's
cool. Well, I just want to be very clear. It's like, I'm not a hateful person. Free market, baby. Go do it.
You come across so hateful.
Should we put out a warning that people need like a spoonful of sour cream with this episode or something like that, like
we
to help
might.
offset it, like.
All right, guys, this is going to wrap up. This is going to wrap up REKT, and we are going to move it on over to the Hopium.
The Hopium. Welcome back to Hopium, where we're going to start with some charts this week. The first, an incredibly rainbow bear take from the chairman of Bitcoin, Pierre Richard, who says that Bitcoin could go to $100,000 over the next 12 months. Maybe.
Dude.
At the same time, we have crypto lawyer Joe Carlasare reporting that how to file bankruptcy is trending on Google. There are an increased number of people looking at how to file bankruptcy. So
that's not good.
If bad housing indicators start spiking, that means we start printing a lot, is how I see it. By we, I mean, those wankers in central banks. But that probably pumps quite a lot. So either people are losing their homes or Bitcoin's going to the moon. To me,
Both,
I don't
probably.
think people are going to be homeless. Why? Because I repeat this stat: 70+% of the population, their primary store of wealth is in their family home. The majority of their wealth is in their family home, and so if politicians control the housing market, if they control mortgages, then you essentially control the whole population, because you control a majority of the wealth of. The majority of household wealth, essentially, in terms of by households, not in terms of the total wealth, but in terms of by households, right? So I think that's probably good. If things start fucking up, right, they start printing. What do you think, guys?
Well, I have to admit, that was just me with my new employment situation. I was just smashing how to file for bankruptcy a bunch of times on every.
Did you get fired?
No, of
Mark,
course not.
We can all be homeless on the moon together, okay?
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I think that there's a lot of.
I blame Shinobi.
No. I think we're going to see a lot of fuckery. State market. I think we're going to see a lot of printing. I don't know what the impetus will be and why, but obviously there just has to be, from the very obvious mathematical interest. This interest service on our debt, as from a U.S. standpoint, is just so high. It's beyond the military cost in a year. It's beyond the GDP growth in a year. We're a zombie company. It's been true for a while, but it's more and more true every day. The debt is just getting worse and worse. So there will have to be a huge amount of printing. So yeah, that's going to happen.
We're real close.
We're about to hit 35. Trillion. Yeah, amazing. So yeah, things aren't going to get better without a lot of printing, and that will obviously have huge implications. There could be some, I don't know. It's almost useless to speculate the reason why, whether it's bird flu or cyber pandemic or banks failure or mortgage failure, whatever it is. But something's going to happen. Something's going to pop, and the only solution will be printing a lot of money. And then, well, who's going to buy those? Those treasuries. Who's going to service the U.S. debt? Our
Tether's doing a pretty good job,
baby.
Yeah, Tether's doing a great job. 73 billion. Did you see their audit reports? They put them on their websites. Independent audit reports. You can see what they have.
Well, it's funny though. I would say honestly, it's funny that I think a lot of the Bitfinex guy, he has me blocked, which is funny. But so much of the Tether truther shit, I think, is just wrong. It's no, it's not that they actually don't have the reserves, it's that they do, and it's that they're buying up a shit ton of debt. That's kind of the problem, as they are self-admitted dollar hegemonists. But anyway,
yeah,
it's funny. Control narrative is very fun. If you control the counter narrative and the main narrative, which is what it seems to be, you can get a lot of damage done in a space.
Hey, we're still not captured yet, so don't worry.
No doubt.
There's a few of us that we can still talk.
As long as Swan don't sponsor your podcast, you can talk shit on Tether all you want. It's quite easy. All right, so
or Tether.
Anyway, up next. I always like anything that where it's fake Toshi getting mildly crushed. And this time the UK reversing a decision. that allows Bitcoin wait, let me get this right. Is it Bitcoin.org in the UK? That's it, to host the white paper. So like you had to use a VPN for a while to access the PDF of the white paper on the Bitcoin.org. That's been reversed because everyone knows Craig's a fraud now. So yay.
Well, this is once again, I'm sure this is exactly what you guys want to hear, but we need unstoppable publishing. You can put stuff directly on Bitcoin if you want. Don't let anybody tell you can't publish things. Shove magnet,
Wait,
torrent
so there's
links.
real uses of inscriptions?
Yeah, there sure are. Absolutely.
What?
And this is a very underlooked. Again, so much of the discourse is just co-opted, and it sucks that a lot of people didn't understand a lot of these things or talk about them. Obviously, I did, and I got a lot of shit for it. But yeah, publishing a Bitcoin is great. You should do it. Why not? You can't. Don't let the UK courts tell you what you can or can't look at online. You can publish unstoppably on Bitcoin if you want to pay the fee. Maybe try it.
I can't believe that you're suggesting putting information like that on the blockchain without trying to shill it to noobs as some type of store of value or a collectible.
Yeah.
I can't believe you just did that.
Yeah.
I mean, like, this is how stupid it is, because obviously, right? Like, when you really dive into it, it's like, okay, well, you can put what you believe to be valuable information and you'll pay the fee. You just don't have to fucking grift noobs with it. That's all.
Yeah. I agree. Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. Most of them are scams. Totally, 100%. But they're also, you can just store information on it. That's what Bitcoin is. It's a database. Go do it. Have fun. No one can tell you what not to do. Yeah.
The last story for Hopium is
we got to get Mark back to his research. Otherwise, we're not going to get this good alpha.
Kind of circling back here a little bit. But I think it's got to be reported, right? We talked about how Diamond is floated for Treasury Secretary. Why is it in Hopium? Well, apparently it's because he's now more positive on Bitcoin. Now,
did he actually say it though?
I don't know. It's probably bullshit, right? It's
nobody has
bullshit.
A source for this.
But let's go. No, fine, whatever. Let's run through the what if, right? If some TradFi guy becomes Treasury Secretary and starts talking positively about Bitcoin, it's probably going to moon. Now, is it because now the US have onshored all of the Bitcoin, as Mark says? Maybe. But who knows?
Yeah, I mean, Epstein's banker, Jamie Dimon's a fucking ghoul. I'm not surprised that Trump would float this. I'm not surprised that Jamie would come out. Yeah, I mean, he's even floated talking about running for president. I mean, I don't know. It's like, I don't think he really needs to. I think he has more power over the United States financial outlook than if he was involved in any sort of public sector thing. As for moving on Bitcoin, again, he's always said this shit. He's always pivoted, gone back and forth. They're doing the TCN network with BlackRock. They're doing JPM Coin, the Onyx network. They've settled trillions of dollars of treasuries using their private blockchain. He's been on blockchain tech from the get-go. So
they also partially own Consensus.
And they bought Consensus, right?
Yeah.
Infura,
totally.
All back end.
Consensus, Infura, MetaMask. They pretty much own all of ETH layer 2 development. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Vitalik is a Teal fellow, and
what?
The group, and the group Antithesis that did all the software for the merge was funded by Palantir. So yeah, I'll be dropping some of that in my next article. And guess who popped Terra Luna? Brian Park of Anchor Protocol. 70% of all value in the Terra system was in Anchor when it popped. He was a Teal fellow as well. So are we manufacturing consent to destroy algorithmic stablecoins as an alternative to treasury-backed stablecoins? Maybe we are. So yeah, kind of fun stuff coming up. But yes, I do have to get back to that research. So thanks for having me, boys.
Tony Klaus.
Dude, absolutely awesome. Guys, this is going to wrap up the show. We've held Mark hostage for too long. We got to let him back into the research. So guys, don't forget to check us out on our audio only platforms, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Anchor. If you want to stream us sats, check us out on fountain.fm. You could stream us sats any way you want. Just stream them. Anyways, Mark, one last time, how can people find your stuff and bug you?
The Bitcoin-dollar.com for the book. And you can find me on Twitter at MarkGoodW_IN. Thanks for having me, guys.
Absolutely,
Cheers, boys. We'll
man.
talk soon.
Thank you. Walton, how do we end this?
Fuckshitcoins.com. Please like and subscribe. We'll see you next week.
More toxic than the most toxic Bitcoin maxi ever. They said he's more toxic than the most.